unexpected reunion. The train doors hiss open, and Ethan steps onto the gravel platform of Willow Creek. The air smells exactly the same, wild pine and damp earth, but everything else feels smaller. He returns as a corporate success, but feels entirely empty. Across town, inside the medical wing, Dr. Olivia Bennett stops by a window, her fingers drifting to the silver ring hanging beneath her scrubs. She had healed hundreds, but couldn't heal her own heart. Then the project meeting begins. The door opens and Ethan walks in, blueprints in hand. Olivia looks up. Their eyes lock across the long wooden table. 10 years of silence, shattered in a single second. They play professional to the room, but beneath the table Ethan's hand is trembling, and Olivia's pen snaps completely under her grip. Late that evening, the sky completely breaks open over Willow Creek. A sudden, violent summer downpour hits the town, washing away the daylight. Running to escape the freezing storm, Ethan pushes through the heavy glass doors of the hospital foyer, only to freeze in his tracks. Standing right there, trapped by the wall of rain, is Olivia. The hallway is completely dead, empty and silent. There are no boardrooms, no town council members, and no corporate masks left to hide behind. Just two ghosts facing each other. The suffocating silence between them grows louder than the crashing thunder outside. Ethan takes a slow, heavy step closer, his eyes darkening. The professional cold city shield he wore all day completely shatters, exposing a decade of bitter jealousy, sleepless nights, and bleeding pride. He clenches his jaw, his voice dropping to a rough, broken whisper. "I heard you stayed in the town for the pharmacist, Thomas. I heard you moved on. I heard you gave him my place." Olivia freezes instantly, her entire body trembling as if she had been struck. Her eyes widen, filling with an agonizing, blinding pain. "Thomas? Thomas helped my mother take care of my dying father when I was drowning in 30-hour night shifts. He was just a friend, Ethan. I stayed here because my family was collapsing. And I stayed because I heard you were happy in the city, with your senior partner's daughter. I thought you built your new life. I thought, you forgot me." Ethan paralyzes as the truth hits him like a sudden, crushing physical blow. There was never anyone else. For 10 agonizing years, they had allowed the idle whispers of a small town and the cold, empty distance of a big city to construct a brutal prison of lies. They had wasted a decade of their lives over ghosts and unconfirmed rumors, hurting each other in the quietest way possible. The crushing weight of this sudden realization is simply too heavy to bear all at once. Olivia steps backward, shaking her head as she wipes a fresh stray tear from her cheek, desperately trying to pull her guarded walls back up. "It doesn't matter now anyway," she whispers brokenly, her voice barely carrying down the hall. "We can't change the time we lost. The past is dead, Ethan." She turns away from him and walks down the long, echoing corridor, her footsteps fading into the distance. She leaves him standing entirely alone in the suffocating shadows of the lobby. That night, neither of them can sleep. The physical distance between them is completely gone, yet as they stare at their ceilings in the dark, the emotional chasm feels wider than it has ever been. The next afternoon, the silent pressure building in their chests becomes completely unbearable to carry. The noise of the construction site and the busy hospital wards fade into background static as a deep, magnetic pull takes hold of them. Driven by an invisible, ancient gravity, Ethan abruptly leaves his blueprints behind and begins walking toward the eastern meadows. At the exact same moment, Olivia steps out of her medical office, her feet instinctively tracing the winding dirt path she hasn't dared to walk in years. Fate refuses to let them give up on each other. And then there it stands. The ancient banyan tree, its massive hanging roots and sprawling canopy welcoming them back to the exact spot where everything first began. Ethan steps into the sunlit clearing from the west just as Olivia steps into the grass from the east. They freeze in their tracks, entirely breathless, looking across the meadow at one another as the brilliant golden twilight cuts through the leaves. Ethan takes one slow, heavy step forward. His professional city mask is completely gone, his eyes raw with 10 years of hidden, uninterrupted love. He finally opens his mouth to speak the words that will change their lives forever. Ethan stands frozen under the sprawling branches of the ancient banyan tree, looking into Olivia's tear-filled eyes. The heavy silence of the meadow breaks as he takes another step forward, his voice cracking with the weight of a decade's worth of unspoken truth. "I never stopped looking for you, Olivia," he whispers, the cold city professional completely vanishing from his face. "Every building I designed, every success I reached, it all felt completely hollow because you weren't there to share it. I let the silence win back then because I was a fool, and I was terrified of holding you back. But I never truly left you behind." Olivia listens to his voice, her hands trembling by her side as the iron walls around her heart begin to crack and crumble. She looks up at the weathered bark of the tree, right at the faded, scarred initials they had carved into it when they were just reckless teenagers full of hope. The memories of their childhood promises come rushing back like a tidal wave, drowning out the bitter regrets of the last 10 years. Tears spill over her eyelashes, catching the golden rays of the fading twilight. She shakes her head softly, her breath catching in her throat. "We wasted so much time, Ethan," she cries out, her voice breaking into a fragile whisper. "We let the world make us believe we were strangers." Ethan doesn't wait anymore. He closes the final distance between them, reaching out to gently take her hands into his own. His grip is warm, steady, and exactly the same as it was the day he left on that lonely train platform. Olivia doesn't pull away this time. Instead, she moves closer, burying her face into his chest as a sob tears through her. Ethan wraps his arms tightly around her, holding her against his heart as if anchoring her to the earth so she can never drift away again. Standing under the very same tree that witnessed their youth, the emotional chasm completely vanishes. "We just lost the way, Liv," Ethan whispers into her hair, his own tears falling without permission. "We just lost the way, but we never lost the love." They stand tightly wrapped in each other's embrace for what feels like an eternity, letting the quiet peace of the meadow wash away the ghosts of Capital City and the lonely nights in Willow Creek. The sun finally dips below the distant hills, painting the horizon in a breathtaking canvas of deep purple and warm crimson gold. The long years of distance, the tragic misunderstandings, and the painful silence are finally over. They had survived the test of time, and under the softening twilight sky, they had finally come home to each other for good.